I got a question. I got a question. I got a question.
Scandalita Gulf Coast Balla, the Panhandle Pro from Pensacola, Florida, and I'm here with another episode of Twitter Unleashed. You already see she's up. This, in my opinion, is probably the most popular, most influential, biggest personality on the Bluebird app itself. The one and only Paris. How you doing?
How are you? I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It is my pleasure. I'm a real life Twitter OG. If it happened on Twitter anytime between 2009 to today, I knew about it.
What do you generally tweet about?
Controversial topic.
You can't grow if everybody's in
You
agreement all
cannot
the
grow
time.
if people always agree with you. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about my content. They think I tweet in order to get engagement for agreeing conversation. Majority of my followers are people who do not agree with me. And majority of my responses come from followers who typically don't follow me at all. Usually my followers on the timeline talking about something else. But that's one of the reasons why I have such a consistent following base, because of the fact that I'm consistent with my message across the board. I don't play favorites, and I'm open-minded. I can see things from all sides of the spectrum. And a lot of times people are not even really able to read in between the lines, because more times often than not, I'm playing devil's advocate.
I was going to ask you, do you remember from when you first got on Twitter, do you remember like the first trending topic or the first big thing that went viral from back in the day?
Yep. And you'll never believe it.
What was it?
To tell you?
Yeah, I
it
want
was
you to tell.
the mansion party, the orgy in Atlanta. It was an Atlanta orgy. Yes, it was an orgy in Atlanta. See, I used to follow a lot of different people. I have a cousin. Her name is Sierra Chantel. She is by way of Arkansas, where we're from. Then she moved to Dallas, and she had a brief thing out here where she lived temporarily, and then she relocated to Atlanta. So with her being older than me and her networking, anytime I got on one of these social sites, she was already on it too. So, Photoshop, that thing, like doing the graphics for MySpace and stuff like that. She was showing me how to do all of this stuff, like, because again, she was older than me, so this is kind of like the cool kids mecca type thing. So when she moved to Atlanta, I'll never forget, like, she was out there, she was making new friends and following and stuff like that in Atlanta. She's kind of known in the city to a degree. And this was right around the time Real Housewives of Atlanta first couple seasons were popping off, and they were really gaining a lot of traction. And it was a orgy in Atlanta, and I will never forget that. It was the orgy party. Another thing that was big around that time was Mansion Elaine. I used to follow this guy named Marcus Two Braids. He dated the girl from Chicago, light-skinned pretty girl that was on Bad Girls Club, and ended up following him on Twitter. Had no idea, but he used to do these crazy sex stories. And on his other page that would link you from Twitter to his other page, he was playing Frank Ocean, Novocaine. One of the first Frank Ocean songs I ever heard. And he used to always promote Mansion Elaine parties out in LA. So those were kind of like the significant things that I remember that were trending on Twitter. And the third thing was when Cat Stack and Soulja Boy were arguing.
I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember when Gucci went off on every fucking body. I remember.
Oh,
that.
so you remember that? You remember the Gucci
yes,
one?
I was there. I was right there for everything. Cause I was like, he ain't lying. Like, that's my boy. He ain't lying. He ain't got to lie on none of y'all. He ain't got to lie on none of y'all. So yeah, I remember that. I was definitely there for that. I was there for all of the rides of that. I remember Sexy Shorty Sunday. SSS used to trend all the time, every Sunday with Travis Porter. And I actually was a part of Sexy Shorty Sunday. I remember that. They used to retweet and quote it on your page when Travis Porter was out. They used to do it. Travis Porter was one of the groups that started promoting music on Twitter. They used to do that.
Boy, if it's a Twitter Mount Rushmore, you gotta be up there. Goodness.
My rise on Twitter really was an overnight sensation. It was unexpected. It happened out the blue. I didn't anticipate it whatsoever. I was one of those people where, like I said, I'm an OG, so I used to dedicate my tweets, my 1,000th tweet, my 500th tweet, or this goes to such and such. Or when I would reach a certain number of following, this number would go to, like, I remember it took me a while to get to 1K followers. I didn't hit and peak over 1,000 until I went to college. And then once that kind of happened, that was when IG was kind of getting on the rise. And then I ended up getting around 3,000, around 3,700, between 3,000 and 3,700. I stayed at that number for quite some time. And my tweets were never just getting a whole lot of traction. They were kind of like doing numbers, like 500-600 likes here and there, 1,200 likes. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't 200-300 likes. I first started getting a lot of traction under viral posts that would go into comments, and that's how I started getting other people to follow me. And from that, I ended up getting more followers, because people would get in the comments and they would read and they were like, and you were a top comment, you would get a whole lot of likes, and that's how people would come to your page and follow you. So when I hit around 5K, I was kind of cool. I was like, all right, this ain't no big deal. But at that time, one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me, and one of the reasons why I did get a lot of my followers, contrary to popular belief, was not my controversial take. I got a lot of my following because it's celebrity entertainment news.
The second page was a true testament of your following, because I ain't never seen somebody get suspended and come back and get the amount of followers you got that fast, that quick. That lets you know that, the testament of that. But I heard that, and I just seen somebody say this, it makes sense, I don't know how true it is. They said that sweep had a lot to do with, or could have something to do with, group chats. So in these group chats where you like post this, I'm gonna post my tweet and all y'all go retweet it for me, they saying that kind of triggering something that's body on the platform side, and they saying people doing that, that's how they just did a sweep probably like within the last month, and a whole lot of people got suspended, and they were saying,
well, if you notice
that it got something to do with that.
If you notice now, right? Because I can speak from this because I've done it. My 13K page, I spoke about large fan, popular fan groups. I never was suspended. If you notice now, you can tweet something about Nicki Minaj and you won't get a whole lot of bars coming into your mentions no more. They actually have done that. I was affiliated with because like I said, I have a huge following. I love pop culture. I love entertainment. So when majority of my following, aside from controversial gender war stuff, relationship stuff, they came from that. So I had a follower that was actually administering one of the biggest Nicki Minaj pages, and they went over to Cardi B fan page as well. The Nicki Minaj page that they had was at like 40 something odd K followers, and then
it wasn't Lil Nas X, was it?
No, it wasn't Lil Nas X. That person is from Little Rock, Arkansas. I know them. And then it was the Cardi page. The Cardi page had like around 30-some K followers. Long story short, I made a comment I made a comment about her, and he happened to DM me. He was like, "Listen, sis, I'm telling you now, lock your page. They just gave me inside intel. They got a group chat with over 400 barbs in it, and they all coming to your page." And no lie, I'm telling you, I had to lock my page for like 2 days because they were coming to, like, I blocked on my first page. I had over 2,000 people blocked. My very first page. Yes, I had to block so many people because that's what they were doing. And even now, they do that. They have group chats of people that will deliberately like come and see one of your tweets The last 3 days, I have been finding divestors in my mentions from tweets that are almost a week old. They do that. Cynthia G knows who I am. Paris Milan knows who I am. Those are two of the biggest divestors in the internet circle. Cynthia G has me blocked on Twitter. I don't know if Paris Milan even has a Twitter. The Women's Divestor group on Twitter, they know who I am. And they definitely send other people to come at me. If I give them energy, they're looking for trigger words to have my page suspended. It's been happening with a lot of big pages for quite some time, and I even got blue checks. Like, blue checks have me blocked, and I'm talking about like academia writers in journalism that work in magazines, that work in television and stuff like that. I have a lot of influence that I didn't know I had, and some of them just know it's best not to engage with her. Other people are intentionally trying to make fake pages. They make fake pages. I've literally had a fake page made after I made a tweet. Tweet was maybe up like 2 hours. That was around the time it caught traction, and they've come and they just started tweeting me multiple times, like all in my mentions, and they're just saying hateful stuff. And to the one point, I used to wake up on my first page with a ton of death threats, like all day long, a ton of death threats. It happens. I don't take it lightly when they're threatening me, but I also don't allow them to feel as if they won, because now I know the game, so I play the game.
Man, speaking, okay, I'm sidebar because I don't want to breeze past. I just want to give you props right quick because I mentioned this in one of my other episodes. Like, you was talking about blue checks. You did a space one time. I think it was a shoot your shot, and y'all had Block Boy JB in there.
We did.
It was some more people, and I remember
Pee-wee Longway. We had a couple NFL players in there. Yeah.
We started that. I remember tweeting, I think I tweeted you or tweeted the hashtag because I know it was so many people that everybody didn't notice. It was more blue checks in there than was getting mentioned. Like, people, they may not have been an athlete, but down, as I was scrolling down, it was other official people in there too. So that was dope, man. That's what I'm saying. The influence, give you props on that. But something else you just said, you said you received death threats. Now, didn't you? I don't know if you want to say, but didn't one time somebody like pull up on you or do something to you?
Oh, no.
Flatten a tire or something?
Okay, so that happened.
Yeah.
At home with my parents. We had, my parents were visiting from home, and they were here for a wedding with my family. And I walked outside, and I insinuate it has to be premeditated. Again, contrary to popular belief, I don't live no real rambunctious life. As you can see now, like, it's quiet. And I always have to point that out to people, like, y'all, I be on spaces all the time. I have a dog. Y'all never hear him. Like, I'm not a very drama-filled, a lot of medicines going. Like, I'm very big on preserving my peace. So my parents were here, their vehicle, we came in after the wedding, after going out. Actually, that wasn't even the day of the wedding. That was probably right before the wedding. I made it in around 2. My brother came in around 5. And when he came in, he told my dad, he was like, "Daddy, the tire on flat." I'm like, "What?" And he was like, "Oh, Paris must have hit something. You know how she drive." And I was like, "Boy," and they're like, I would have felt it because they have it's a 2020 GMC Denali, so you would feel it. Like, I'm a short lady, like I would feel it. So I'm like, nah, I ain't hit nothing. Looking at the route that I was coming from, I live in Texas. Y'all know them highways, so I'm in Dallas. So yeah, I'm like, I would feel it. I didn't feel anything. So he was like, "Oh, it's probably at a slowly," he's just, again, not really paying it much mind. So then we go out, me and my mom had went out earlier that day, and they were sending me back to the store because at this time we are getting ready for the wedding. And I go out, and it was like literally around the same time. It was kind of creepy because we were in the house. I don't really spend too much time outside. I live in an apartment complex. I don't have children, so I go out and I'm like, girl, not my time flat. We done had people come out and change my dad's tire. Then we come out and again they had to come change my tire. It got fixed same day, but I was like, they ain't want to fight. They ain't want to fight because if you had that much time to figure out what car it was, you had every amount of time to figure out which door to knock on. You ain't want to fight. I love black men. I love black men. They the backbone of the society. The way that I grew up, I don't believe in the whole black women are protected trope. It don't exist to me because there's always somebody I can call. There's always somebody who don't mind doing time or going to die. That's how it is for me.
Let's switch lanes. Do you remember your first viral tweet?
I do.
What was it?
I always get asked this, and I started the trend of people posting their DMs on Twitter.
Okay, here we go. Mount Rushmore, Twitter Mount Rushmore, OG.
I did. I started the trend of people posting their DMs on Twitter. I know Zola, she started the trend of people telling story times, but I did start the trend of people posting their DMs and going viral for it. My tweet, it had it was right at 200K. And it was when a inmate from Columbus, Ohio, DM'd me, and he was calling himself expressing interest. And that was the first time I really knew what it felt like to have a lot of unwarranted attention, because I'm thinking, in my ignorant state of bliss, like, everybody should agree with me. That's how I was thinking. Like, everybody, like, I'm not wrong, like. And that was the first time reality slapped me in my face. Like, when you go viral, a lot of people think it's just it's a rush, it's a thrill. But that was the first time, like, I couldn't respond back to my phone. It had froze up. I had so many notifications to the point where I couldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't get into my phone, and people are like, just go turn your notifications off. I couldn't even get into my phone, like, at all. Like, my phone was going crazy. Like, the first day, I know it did over 30K. The first day.
Goodness.
And it was basically a conversation between me and him. It was 2 pages, and he basically said in so many words, he wanted to get to know me and take me out. And then I was like, okay, where you at? And I was asking where he was as far as like location. And the man responded back to me, and he was like, well, I'm in jail at the moment. I'm like, wait a minute, dog. And what made it so funny was at the time I was actually a correctional officer.
What's your most viral tweet? What's your biggest tweet?
Issa Rae. Issa Rae.
Oh man.
It's Issa Rae.
You did something to Issa?
You can Google it. Like, I still pop up on other people's YouTube. I still pop up. Well, basically, long story short, Twitter. You know how Twitter is. They were having a discussion. The discussion was like 2 days old, and where they were comparing Issa and Ari Lennox Flex. And they were it was around the time Ari Lennox had started dropping all that weight, and when she had put on the wig, it was the very first time all the men was like, man, if I knew Ari looked like this, I would have been paying her much more mind. That was kind of like that thing, because Ari never really promoted herself as far as a sex symbol. She just emphasized on her music, and she do funny lives. And I love R&B, I love neo soul, so I was very intrigued by her music, and I loved her personality. She's also an Aries like me. I'm into astrology. So I knew who Ari was, and I'm like, I love her. They used to always talk about her having a side tooth. So it was like more commentary about her looks and stuff like that. And then I was tweeting one of my followers, and I was like, she was like, I've never heard anybody say Issa's ugly. And I'm like, she ain't cute to me. Like, and I was basically like telling them, like, if I walked into a room and I saw Issa Rae, she would not just be like, oh my gosh, beautiful girl. She wouldn't just catch my eye. And I still feel that way to this day, because Issa's just not like one of those, oh my gosh, she's just stunning. Like, she doesn't wow me like that. And so I ended up another girl tweeted me, and she was out somewhere. I don't know. She just came bothering me, and by this time, I'm like constantly getting Twitter attention. Like at this time, so I'm not sure what's hitting and what's missing. We talk about celebrities all the time. Like I said, I'm big on celebrity commentary, so I had kind of like already knew what was happening, and I had already knew where it was coming from, and they had already been talking about Drea Michelle, and they had already been talking about like Pop Smoke and Michael B. Jordan. Their looks are always topic of discussion. That tweet went viral. That tweet went so viral to the point where it hit every single blog I could think of. It even went when it hit Listic Alley. It ended up on TMZ. It ended up on Yahoo front page celebrity news. It ended up on Google, and it was because she responded back to me. Somebody with a blue check tweeted her. She put her picture side by side by mine and was like, "Oh, but you look like me though." And I'm like, "I really don't. Like, we really don't. I look like my mom." Like, it was the makeup, it was the lighting. I had taken a picture, and I was getting ready to start my YouTube. And with me taking a picture, I don't see it, but I guess other people saw it. Like, "Oh, she look like Issa before Issa lost weight." And I'm like, "Bro, I had on makeup in that picture. Like, we don't look alike. Like, don't get me wrong.
Nothing alike.
We look nothing alike. We probably smile alike, and I think that's what it is. Like, we both have like a very full smile, but we really don't look alike." And that was the tweet that went up, and when it went up, it was, "Oh my God, she hates Black women. She hates herself. She's entirely misogynistic." And I'm like, baby, it's not that deep. I love Black women, but I do not have to think I don't have to think she's pretty. Like, and I was so irritated with the tweet. It kind of, like I said, it went viral, and I was irritated with the people tweeting me. So I was like, "Get the hell out my damn mentions." That's how I was kind of like, I don't want to fuck this lady. I don't want to be hired by her. Like, leave me alone. She's not pretty to me. Like, that was my most viral moment. And I still stand on what I said. I definitely am a fan of hers, though. I love the work that she has done.
You just mentioned Issa put you side by side her. That wasn't the last time you ended up side by side somebody on Twitter, huh?
Oh, that went.
This is gonna be crazy. What's the wildest tweet you've ever seen?
Seen?
Yeah. Not that you tweeted, but that you scrolling and you was like, "Whoa."
Man, on Twitter, you get some wild stuff on Twitter, man. You get some wild stuff. In recent, I ran across, in which I didn't actually run across it. Man, it's so much. I would have to say the guy getting flipped up off the motorcycle in real time in a high-speed chase was fucking wild. And he dropped down, and his head literally splattered open, like his body flipped up like it was a dummy on a movie, like an extra. That shit was wild. I blocked the page. It was a OnlyFans girl, and basically she does slave racial play, and she has a white boyfriend. That shit wild. Like, that's wild. I actually was one of the Twitter beta testers.
Okay.
For Spaces. I was a Twitter beta tester for Spaces. I wasn't a Twitter tester for the monetization, but I was a tester for Spaces. I do follow some Twitter people that actually work for Twitter. I do follow some journalists. I do follow some very influential people on YouTube and things like that. I have a very different active fan base. I follow some porn pages because they actually engage and interact with me. I do have a couple blogs that I follow. Shout out to Spiritual World. They are my favorite. They also follow me. And aside from that, I follow just random regular people on Twitter. And with me following that type of demographic, men and women, I know I have a huge following from men, but I actually follow women back more than I follow men. And with me having such a huge active fan base like that, I get to see a lot of different stuff that other people don't see. And that particular video, before it go viral. How I get thrown into the algorithm like that, but I do.
Yeah.
I actually get to see stuff before it goes viral, and I can kind of see, oh yeah, Twitter finna make this do numbers. I'll call it. Like, I'll be in spaces, I'll tell them, hey y'all, this tweet finna go viral. And they'll be like, send it to them. Nope, because I ain't finna give it no more engagement. I know it's finna go viral. If I send it to y'all, y'all finna flood my timeline now, and then I'm gonna have to see it again for no reason. I kind of waver in the middle of the lines with Sukiyana. I love Suki, and I love her because she's herself. Same reason why I do love Cardi B, but I waver with Suki because of how she propaganda herself. In all honesty, you know, if that's what gets you to the top, then that's what does it. You know, if that's what you love to do. But I tread a fine line in support. Like, I don't want to ever water another woman down for being herself and truly showing people who she really is. But I also don't have to actually interact with what you do to support it. And that's kind of where I stand with Sukiyana. I think she's beautiful. I love how passionate she is. I think she's extremely talented. That was another reason why I never cared for Cupcake. Because Cupcake has extremely overly provocative music. But if you listen to her, man, she can flow. She can flow. But Cupcake, what turned me off from her was when she had a video where she was in a dog collar. And she was like eating out of a dog bowl and stuff like that. And it was, again, a very provocative thing. And that video, that just kind of like went to that arena, because I've seen Cupcake do things in videos where she's putting stuff in her mouth, and it wasn't necessarily a body part, but it replicated body parts. And I've seen Suki do the same thing, and I've seen Suki with the good coochie, and, you know, her with her legs out and stuff like that. But I try not to glorify and overly hyper analyze those types of things. I don't want to deal with it all the time, and I'm very careful about the representation that I put out myself as a Black woman. And that is one of my biggest threats on Twitter, because they see this woman who is getting a lot of respect from men off of the things she says, and not because she is posting ass and titties. It's not you guys are liking my pictures and you're telling me I'm a fine ass bitch all the time and how you would slut me out. And, you know, it's not that. That's not why I'm getting the attention. I can think, I have a brain, and I'm able to put it into a context where other people understand exactly what I'm saying.
What's the wildest DM you've ever got?
I ain't gonna lie. A death threat gotta be the wildest DM I ever got.
Yeah.
Right.
And it ain't even got to be no story behind that.
It ain't nothing that tops that. It ain't nothing that tops that. Like, you don't ever think you gonna wake up and somebody telling you that they gonna do something that extreme to you because they don't like the way you say things online.
What's the wildest space you've ever seen?
The space about me.
Gotta do it. Yeah, because I definitely seen that. And matter of fact, the space, I want to say the space about you wasn't even on Twitter at the time. You hadn't came back yet, if I'm not mistaken. And
it's been 3 or 4. 2 of them I for sure was on Twitter. I know because the thing is, even though
that's a miserable life, though, man. I ain't giving nobody that much energy, man, for free.
Yeah, they have made spaces about me. I have friends that were telling me that spaces were made about me. You know, I do have friends that are not just specific to the app. Like I said, I went to college. I've been able to network. So all of my followers are not just random profiles, you know, where I'm talking to a stranger. People have my number. People are understanding of my confidentiality. They do keep it for me. And that's why I'm very conditional with the type of people that I engage with. Even down to my email and stuff like that. I don't put it out there for everybody to see. So yeah, the spaces about me had to be, at that point, I was like, wow.
So speaking of wild spaces, I've seen, look like y'all got something going on. We got the meats. And I think I saw it for the second time, and this ain't no Arby's. that y'all got going on. So what? What was the inspiration behind that? Or
Well,
is that a secret society space?
No, it's not a secret society space. I can talk about it. It's on a public platform. So,
Okay.
a friend of mine, Ballin, we actually trended with feminist pick-me spaces. We did
Shout out
part
to
one,
Fallon.
part two. Yep, we did part 1 and part 2 together. We spinned it, and we also did Alpha and Sim spaces. We trended over 3 times on Twitter. Number
Remember that?
1. Let's be specific. I was the first person to trend with spaces on Twitter. Number 1. Yeah, so I did do that. And because of the fact that everybody kind of does everything in an echo chamber, everybody's having the same conversations. They kind of do the same thing. We just kind of did something a little different. And, they do have the moan spaces, and that's kind of something that's down from over in Clubhouse. They used to do that.
Okay.
So what we did was, because everything is so hypersexualized around women, we allow me and her, we did tailor it with a couple other people. Shout out to Brady, shout out to Brandy, and a couple other women that engage with us. But those other 3 women are the top that we do it with. And basically
Brandy's funny.
She is. It's an anonymous submission where men send us a number and they send us a picture of their dick, and we rate it. We rate it and we see it amongst a small group of women. We don't put it on the timeline. We don't like to expose people as far as their personal lives. If they have wives, girlfriends, not our business. If you send us your dick, we gonna rate it, baby. If you don't like the rating, you're gonna have to take that over God, because they know we can do about it.
So what's the criteria? Because I've listened in on those spaces, because that's free laughs for me. That's
yes, everybody loves it. They say these girls are funny.
And y'all are rating on 1 to 10, but I believe each woman has her different reasons she's rating what she's rating. Well, how do y'all come up with the ratings?
It's literally based off of our energy for each other. A lot of times our spaces are freelance. We just go out for our energy. We're not like prepping this. We don't do it like calling each other. Like, no, it's like it's happening in the moment. So everything that y'all hearing it in fucking real time. So that is entertainment that is dead set on the spot. So for me, right, I know what I like. And as far as aesthetic of a penis, it's a couple things that goes into that. Being bigger is better, those types of things. So color wise, how you take the picture, where you're standing, if your background look a certain way, like those things tell me stuff about you as a man. Like, where you taking a picture at, like that type of stuff be telling me stuff about you.
So size still matters. Y'all don't want to see no vertigo D.
No.
And fellas, they say stop taking pics on the toilet.
Yes, stop that mess. And y'all need to put some lotion on the things too, and groom, baby, groom. Okay, groom, because that be looking nasty. That don't be looking right. Y'all better keep them ashy dicks out of my damn DMs. Don't have no ashy dick in my DM. Put some oil on it, and I ain't talking about no lotion. Put some motherfucking oil on that dick before you send it in a picture, and stop taking the pictures real up close. Stop putting your fingertip at the base like it's gonna make it longer. We know what they look like. We know what they look like.
And we've come to the part where I ask everybody their top 5 timeline terrorists on Twitter.
Ooh, first and foremost, I gotta shout out my brother Tantric. This is Slime. Take your time, Slime. He is definitely one of those people where he has a funny way of making you feel dumb without you even noticing it, whether it's in writing or whether it's like in his vernacular. Second person, shout out to Miss Gorilla Mama. Hey, Ashley. She goes by Pickle Mama now. I really do love her because she definitely gives me and like petty, but still like mature. Another person is Pimp C in Training. Shout out to Raya up in H-Town. That is my girl. We relate so much. I love her. I love everything about her, and the relatability of it, because It's just hard that you find people who down to earth. They understand exactly where you're coming from, and you ain't gotta oversimplify stuff. You ain't gotta over explain it. Oh, another timeline terrorist for me would have to be, I would have to say Will, Can Cruz. Because Will has had some legendary moments on Twitter. He's out of New York. Will go off and he don't mind reading nobody from top to bottom. As of now, one of my new, that's not an OG Twitter person, it's gonna have to be Chick, my little brother, also out of H Town, because
Okay.
Chick was actually the starter of the diaspora wars. He is the one that's got us in all this goddamn controversy. He know if he calling me, I'm coming. So I gotta say Chick, because I love how we have a outspoken black man that's creating a name for himself in this Twitterverse, and they can't shut him up. They can't take a platform from him because he's right here. He's so interesting. He's a 23-year-old smart young black boy from Houston, Texas, two-parent household, and he's very much so well-rounded, educated with college, and on top of that, he's a hard worker. So I really love that about him. And number 5 would have to go to, it's gonna have to be between, I would say, 3 guys that I have been following for quite some time. That's gonna have to be Sean from Arkansas. Me and him both rep the same city together. Sean is very smart. He's also an outspoken black man. It's gonna have to be Adrian. He goes by Dre Poppy on Twitter, and Reggie, Sheer Opulence on Twitter. Those 3 guys, they have very different takes. I love their humor. I love how they're able to convey things into words. All of those young brothers, I appreciate them so much, and I have a different rapport with them. So those would have to be my top terrorists, because they keep me engaged. You know, like I get, none of those people that I named have the same type of content. Will to kind of calm down now. He talks a lot more about stocks and stuff like that. But I am my favorite timeline terrorist.
I got a question. I got a question.